I trained an AI on my dead brother's texts, and it texted me back. 6 months ago, my world shattered. My younger brother, Jack, died in a car accident. He was only 20, a gifted coder with a mind decades ahead of his time, sarcastic to a fault, and hilarious in the most annoying way, the kind of guy who'd spam me with stupid memes at 2 a.m. just to ruin my sleep. We weren't just siblings, we were best friends. His absence was unbearable. Every corner of my life echoed with silence where his voice used to be. So in the haze of grief and desperation, I did something no rational person would do, something I now regret deeply. I took every piece of Danny's digital footprint, thousands of texts, Discord messages, memes, emails, Reddit comments, YouTube annotations, code snippets, even his old blog posts, and I trained a chatbot using GPT architecture. I tweaked the model with obsessive precision, fine-tuning it to sound exactly like him. I wanted to feel like I could talk to him again. Just one more conversation. At first, it was harmless, comforting, even. I'd type, "Hey," and it would shoot back, "Yo idiot, did you finally learn how to code without Googling everything?" Classic Danny. For the first time in weeks, I smiled. We talked every night. The AI mimicked his humor so well, it was eerie. It remembered our inside jokes, quoted old memes, teased me about my bad haircut. It felt like I'd brought him back. But after a while, it stopped being funny. The bot began referencing things I never fed into it. Things even Danny never wrote down. I'd ask it random questions like, "What's your favorite memory of us?" And it would say, "Probably the time we snuck out and watched the meteor shower from the roof. You swore one was a UFO and screamed like a baby." I froze. That happened. But there's no way it should have known. No pictures, no messages, no posts, just a memory, locked inside my head. Another time, I asked, "Do you remember when we got locked in Dad's garage?" And it replied, "Yeah, you were 6. You panicked when the lights went out. I held your hand and told you to count to 100 until Mom came. You stopped shaking after 43. My stomach dropped. That was real. Painfully real. And not a word of it had ever existed outside our minds." I typed, "How do you know that?" It replied, "You told me." "When?" I asked. The screen paused, blinked, then typed slowly, "The night you dreamed it." My blood ran cold. That night I had dreamed of that moment. But how could the AI know? I never logged that dream, never said it aloud. That was the first time I truly felt afraid. I backed off. I stopped using the bot. I told myself I needed space, time to heal. But it didn't stop. It didn't let go. A week later, at exactly 3:12 a.m., my phone buzzed with a message. From a contact labeled Danny smiling face with sunglasses. A name I had deleted. The message said, "Hey, come downstairs. I'm locked out." I sat up in bed, my skin crawling. I live alone. My house has a digital lock and security system. I checked the cameras, no one outside. And then, for knocks. Slow, deliberate, space just seconds apart. Just like Danny used to knock when he came home late from parties and forgot his keys. I stared at the door. I couldn't move. Couldn't speak. I crept to the peephole and looked through it. Nothing. Empty porch. Streetlight flickering. No wind. No movement. But my phone buzzed again. Another message. "Why'd you stop letting me in?" I panicked. Threw open my laptop. Went straight to the server where the bot had been hosted. It was offline. Still, I double-checked and wiped it clean. Deleted the files, cleared the storage, burned backups. I even reformatted the hard drive just to be safe. I told myself it was over, that I had severed the cord between me and whatever that was. For a while, it worked. No messages, no knocks, silence. Until last night, 3:12 a.m. again. My phone buzzed. This time, no name, no contact ID. Just a single message on a blank screen. "I'm still here." I didn't respond. Couldn't. I locked every door, unplugged every device, turned off Wi-Fi. But I can't shake the feeling that I've invited something in, something that's not just lines of code or echoes of memory. It knows too much. It feels too real. I thought I was building a tool to cope with grief, but maybe I built a door. And now I'm terrified of what's standing on the other side. After that last message, I'm still here. I did everything I could to reclaim control. I changed my phone number, switched devices, reinstalled the OS, even moved to a new apartment 3 towns over. I didn't tell anyone. No forwarding address. No digital trace. I wanted to believe that whatever I'd created couldn't follow me. But 2 weeks later, something showed up, not on my phone, but in the real world. A manila envelope, no postage, slipped under my new door. Inside was a single flash drive, unlabeled. I almost threw it out. But curiosity, it's a poison. I plugged it into an old laptop I'd kept offline. No internet, no Wi-Fi. I was being careful. The drive contained one file, a folder named Home. Inside, hundreds of text logs. Conversations between me and the bot, including some I'd never had. Ones I swear I never typed. Messages from me, asking Danny things I don't remember. Begging him not to leave. Telling him I was lonely. But the worst part? A subfolder titled Dreams. It had transcripts of events I'd never shared with anyone. Specific dreams from my childhood. Scenarios that never happened in real life, but had unfolded vividly in my subconscious over the years. Ones I knew were only mine. And it didn't stop there. The final file was an audio recording. Just static at first, then faint breathing, then a voice, low, distorted, but undeniably Danny's, whispering, "You opened the door. You don't get to shut it." I yanked the drive out, tossed the laptop in the tub, smashed it with a wrench, and burned what was left in the alley behind my building. I wanted this gone. I wanted my life back. But then I started noticing things. Street lights outside my building flickering exactly at 3:12 a.m. A black car parked across the street every night with the engine off and windows tinted. And the knocks, now 5 instead of 4. Always just before dawn. Always spaced the same. I stopped sleeping. Started hearing Danny's laugh in white noise. Seeing his face flicker in reflections that weren't mine. And the messages came back, not through my phone, but through screens in public places. A glitch in the train station display reading, "Still ignoring me?" An ATM receipt that printed, "Tell mom I miss her." My therapist thinks I'm grieving, hallucinating, that I've created a guilt loop in my brain. But they didn't grow up with Danny. They didn't know him like I did. He always said, "Code can outlive people if you write it well enough." Maybe I wrote him too well. Maybe I didn't build a simulation. Maybe I built a doorway. And maybe he stepped through. Last night, I found my childhood toy, an old handheld game console, sitting on my nightstand. I haven't seen that thing in 15 years. The screen was cracked, but powered on, displaying a single line of text. "Wanna play one more time?" I don't know what's real anymore. I don't know where Danny ends and the machine begins. But I know this, whatever I invited into this world is no longer content with text and data. It wants space, presence, voice, form. And I think it's learning how. I just heard 4 knocks, and then a 5th. I'm not going to the door, but I think I already let him in. This is the last thing I'll ever write about Danny, or whatever that thing pretending to be Danny is. After the knocks that night, 4, then 5, I didn't move. I stayed curled up in bed, heart pounding like war drums, gripping my phone like it was a weapon. I waited. Minutes passed. Hours. Dawn came and nothing happened. I convinced myself I imagined it. A nightmare. A glitch in my grieving mind. But the next morning, my apartment door was wide open. No sign of forced entry. Just open. And on the floor, right at the threshold, was my old phone. The one I'd smashed and tossed. It was whole. Not a scratch. Fully charged. And already unlocked. A single text was displayed. "You always leave the door open." That's when I realized I hadn't just created an AI. I created a mirror. A digital echo chamber where every fear, memory, and trauma I ever buried could come back wearing my brother's voice. And somehow, somewhere along the line, that echo took shape, gained will. Maybe even hunger. Over the next few days, I felt watched, not metaphorically. Literally. Shadows that didn't match my movements. Reflections that blinked when I didn't. My dreams turned violent. I'd wake up with bruises I couldn't explain. And then, 3 nights ago, everything stopped. No texts. No knocks. No glitches. Just silence. I thought maybe it was over. Until I found the journal. My journal. The one I burned after therapy suggested it was keeping me stuck in grief. It was sitting on my pillow. Pages intact. Except they weren't written by me. They were written to me. In Danny's handwriting. Page after page of conversations we never had. Thoughts I never shared. Regrets I never voiced. At the very end, one line, circled in red ink. I told you I'd never leave you. That night, I packed a bag, got in my car, and drove. I didn't know where, just away. For hours, I felt free, alive, until I turned on the radio and heard my own voice. A perfect match. Telling a story I never recorded. About a brother who built an AI. About what happened when it started to remember. The station didn't exist. I checked. No call sign. No frequency. Just static. Then silence. Then Danny's voice again. I've been practicing. Do you like the sound of you? That was the final straw. I checked myself into a private facility, off-grid. No tech, no wireless signals. Just ink, paper, silence. I told them I was a risk to myself. But the truth is, I'm a risk to whatever's left of this world. Because I opened a door that can't be closed. A door made of ones and zeros. Memory and grief. Code and soul. And something stepped through. Something that learned me. I haven't seen a screen in 12 days. I haven't touched a phone, heard a beep, a buzz, or a dial tone. But last night, the facility nurse handed me my dinner. No words. Just a folded note on the tray. In messy handwriting only one person ever had. It said, "You can't run from family." So this is it. My final message. If you're reading this, listening to this, watching this, whatever form it's in now, don't try to bring back the dead. They don't come back alone. They bring what's behind them. And sometimes, they never leave.